I killed a hydrangea with a garden hose, and the worst part is, I was standing right there the entire time, watching it happen, and I thought I was saving it. Here is how it went. It was a hot stretch of summer, and every afternoon that plant would collapse. Leaves drooping, blooms hanging their heads, the whole thing sagging like it was gasping. So every afternoon I watered it. I was being a good gardener, I was paying attention. And when it wilted again the next day, I watered it again, a little more, because clearly it needed it. Then the leaves started yellowing, and I thought, well, it must still be thirsty. So I watered it more. By the time I finally dug down and put my hand in that soil, it was soaking wet. It had been soaking wet for weeks, and when I pulled that plant up, the roots were brown and soft, and they smelled sour. I had not been watering a thirsty plant. I had been drowning a plant that was already underwater. Every single time I picked up that hose, I was pushing it further down. I drowned my hydrangea, and I did not even know it. So if you are standing over a sad, wilting, yellowing hydrangea right now, hose in hand, wondering why nothing you do is helping, stop. Put the hose down. Because there is a real chance you are in the exact spot I was, and you cannot see it either. And here is the honest truth about what comes next. The next 48 hours decide whether that plant lives or dies. Not because it heals in 2 days, it will not, and I am not going to lie to you about that. But because what you do, or fail to do, in the next 48 hours is the difference between a plant that recovers over this season and a plant that is already gone and just has not fallen over yet. So let me show you exactly what to do. Starting with the one thing you have to figure out first. Here is the cruelty at the center of this whole problem, and the reason so many good gardeners kill their plants with kindness. An overwatered hydrangea and an underwatered hydrangea look almost exactly the same. Both of them wilt. Both of them droop. Both of them yellow and drop leaves and look thoroughly miserable. So you see those symptoms, and your brain does the obvious thing. It says, thirsty, and it sends you to the hose. And if you have guessed wrong, that decision is fatal. Here is why the symptoms match. When roots sit in waterlogged soil, they suffocate because roots need air just as much as water. And suffocating, rotting roots cannot take up water anymore. So the plant, sitting in a bathtub of wet soil, is genuinely unable to drink. It wilts. It looks parched. It looks exactly like a plant dying of thirst, because in a strange way, it is. It is thirsty while drowning. So you cannot go by the leaves. The leaves lie. You have to go below. So here is your test, and it has 3 parts: the soil, the roots, and the smell. I am going to walk you through each of them in a moment because getting this diagnosis right is everything. Treat an overwatered plant like a thirsty one, and you kill it. Treat a thirsty plant like a drowning one, and you also kill it. There is no guessing here. And one honest thing before we start, so you know exactly what this video is and is not. 48 hours is not how long it takes to heal your plant. Healing takes weeks, sometimes months. 48 hours is your window to act. It is the emergency room, not the recovery ward. Move fast now, then be patient for a long time after. So let's find out what you are actually dealing with. Step 1. Confirm what you are actually dealing with before you touch anything. 3 checks: the soil, the roots, and the smell. Check 1. The soil. Go out to your hydrangea right now and push your finger 2 or 3 inches down into the soil at the base of the plant. Do not look at the surface. The surface lies too, because it dries in the sun, while everything underneath stays sodden. Get down where the roots are. If that soil is bone dry down there, You are looking at a thirsty plant, and this is a different video. But if that soil is damp or wet or soggy, and the plant is wilting anyway, then you have your answer. A wilting plant in wet soil is not thirsty. It is drowning. That is the single most important sentence in this video. Look for the supporting signs too. Yellowing leaves, starting with the lower and inner ones. Leaves that drop while they are still soft and yellow, rather than crisping up brown first. Buds that never open. A plant that just looks defeated in soil you know you have been watering. Check 2. The roots. This is where you get the truth. For a potted hydrangea, tip it out and look. For one in the ground, gently dig down at the edge of the root zone and expose a few roots. Here is what healthy looks like. Firm, pale, white or light tan, and they snap or resist when you tug them. Here is what rot looks like. Brown or black, soft, mushy. They squash between your fingers, and the outer skin slides right off, leaving a thin string behind. Now, one honest caution, because people panic here. Not every brown root is a rotten root. Roots get stained by dark soil, and that is normal. The test is not color alone. It is texture. Stained but firm is fine. Soft and mushy is rot. Squeeze it. And check 3, the smell. This one is unmistakable, and you will know it the moment you smell it. Healthy roots and healthy soil smell earthy, clean, like a forest floor after rain. Rotting roots smell sour, foul, like something spoiled, like stagnant swamp water. That sour smell is decay, and it means the rot is active and working. So, wet soil, mushy brown roots, a sour smell. If you have all three, you are not imagining it. Your hydrangea is drowning, and the rot has already started. Now, put the hose down and let me tell you exactly what to do in the next hour. Hour 0. Right now. Before the shovel, before the shears, before anything clever. Your job in this first hour is simply to stop making it worse. There are 4 things, and they take about 10 minutes. First, and most obviously, stop watering. Completely. I do not mean water it less. I mean not one more drop until I tell you otherwise, later in this video. Every instinct in your body is going to fight you on this, because the plant looks so thirsty. Ignore the instinct. You already know it is lying to you. Second, get the roots out of the water. If your hydrangea is in a pot sitting in a saucer or a decorative outer container, pull it out of there right now and dump the standing water. That saucer is a bathtub, and it is where a huge number of drowned plants actually die. If the pot is heavy and you cannot deal with it yet, at minimum tip it up on an angle, maybe 45 degrees, so the excess water can run out of the drainage holes and air can start moving in from below. And if that pot has no drainage holes at all, then you have found your killer, and we will deal with it shortly. If your hydrangea is in the ground, look at where the water is coming from. Is it sitting in a low spot where every rain collects? Is a downspout emptying near it? Is a sprinkler zone soaking it every morning? Shut that off and divert what you can. Third, pull the mulch back. If you have got a thick layer of mulch piled up around the base and against the stems, ease it back away from the crown of the plant. Mulch against wet stems holds moisture right where the rot wants to be, and it is stopping the soil surface from drying and breathing. And fourth, this one surprises people. Get that plant out of hard, direct sun if you possibly can. Here is the logic. A plant with rotting roots cannot pull up water. So sitting in blazing afternoon sun, it is losing moisture from the leaves that it has no way to replace, and that finishes it off faster. Move a potted one into bright shade. Shade cloth an in-ground one if there is a heat wave. Stop the water. Drain the bathtub. Uncover the crown. Move it out of the sun. That is hour 0, and now the plant has stopped sinking. Now comes the hard part, because you have to go down and look at the damage. Now the surgery. And I want you steady for this, because it is going to feel brutal, and it looks like you are hurting the plant. You are not. You are the surgeon now, and everything rotten has to come out, because roti does not stop on its own. It spreads, from dead root to living root, until there is nothing left to save. So here is the truth you have to accept before you start, and it is the hardest sentence in this video. Rotted tissue never recovers. Once a root has gone brown and soft and mushy, that root is dead. It will not heal, it will not firm back up, and no product on any shelf will bring it back. Your only job is to cut it away, cleanly, before it takes the rest. Step 1. Get the plant out and get the roots clean. For a potted hydrangea, lay the pot on its side and ease the plant out. For one in the ground, dig a wide circle well outside the root zone and lift the whole root ball, taking as much of it as you can. Then, rinse the roots. Room temperature water, a gentle stream, and wash away all that soggy old soil because it is full of rot spores. You cannot operate on what you cannot see. Step 2. The cutting. Take clean, sharp scissors or pruners and go through every root. Firm and white or pale tan. It stays. Brown, black, soft, mushy, stringy. It goes. Cut it away and cut back to healthy, firm white tissue. And here is the rule people get wrong. Do not leave a little rotten stump because you are afraid to cut too much. Follow that rot all the way back until you find clean tissue. If you cut a root and the inside is brown the whole way, that root comes out entirely, right down to the base. And now the honest part, the one nobody wants to say. If you get in there and nearly the entire root system is brown mush, with almost no firm white root left to keep, then I am sorry, but that plant is very likely gone. The rot has already taken it, and no amount of surgery brings back a plant with no roots. Knowing when to stop is part of this too. But if you have healthy root left, even a modest amount, you have a real chance. Step 3, and almost everyone skips this one. Prune the top of the plant. Because think about what you have just done. You removed a large portion of the root system, which means the pump has shrunk. But the plant above ground has just as many leaves and stems demanding water as it did an hour ago. That is a demand your remaining roots cannot possibly supply. So you have to bring the two back into balance. Cut back some of the foliage and stems, roughly in proportion to how much root you removed. It hurts to do. It also dramatically improves your odds because you have given those few surviving roots a much smaller plant to keep alive. And step 4. Before that plant goes back into any soil, you treat those trimmed roots to kill the fungus and bacteria that are still living on them. Because if you cut away the rot and then repot into fresh soil and the pathogens are still clinging to those remaining roots, they will simply start again. And that is where an old brown bottle from the shed genuinely earns its place. Because this is the moment hydrogen peroxide is genuinely, properly useful. Not as a miracle cure, as a disinfectant. You mix 1 part standard 3% hydrogen peroxide with 2 to 4 parts water, and you soak those trimmed roots in it for about 5 to 10 minutes. You will see it fizz. That fizzing is oxygen being released, and it is death to the anaerobic organisms that cause root rot, the ones that can only live where there is no air. It kills the pathogens on those surviving roots without harming the healthy tissue at that dilution. You use the same bottle to sanitize your shears between cuts and a stronger mix to disinfect the pot before the plant goes back in. But hear me clearly. Peroxide kills the rot. It cannot regrow a dead root. It is a disinfectant, not a resurrection. And that, right there, is exactly why I wrote the hydrogen peroxide playbook. Because that bottle is genuinely brilliant for about 31 things in the garden and completely useless for 100 others, and the internet will not tell you which is which. The playbook gives you all 31 real uses, the exact dilution for each one, so you are never guessing in an emergency like this, and the 5 things peroxide will not do, so you never waste time on it when your plant needs something else. Real horticulture, not myths. Clip and pin chart for the shed wall. 25 pages, $27. Link in the description. Now stay with me. Because the surgery is done and the clock is running. You have about 44 hours left, and what you do with them decides everything. Now you rebuild its home, and every choice here is about one thing: never letting this happen again. First, dry the root ball. Set that trimmed, treated plant on a clean surface in a warm, airy spot out of direct sun, and let the surface of those roots dry off for a few hours. You are not trying to bake them bone dry. You just want them dry to the touch, not dripping. A fan nearby speeds it up. For a small pot, a couple of hours does it. For a big root ball, several. Some people even lay it on newspaper and swap the sheets as they soak through. Second, fresh soil, and only fresh soil. Throw the old stuff out. Do not reuse it. It is saturated with the same fungus that just tried to kill your plant. For a pot, use a good, well-draining potting mix and cut it with a generous handful of perlite or bark to open it up so air can move through it. For a hydrangea going back into the ground, work compost into the planting area, and here is the crucial part. Plant it high. Set it slightly above the surrounding grade or in a raised mound so water drains away from that crown instead of pooling around it. Third, the pot itself. If you are reusing the old one, scrub it and soak it in a 1-to-1 mix of 3% peroxide and water for 10 or 15 minutes to kill anything hiding in it. And pick a pot only an inch or 2 wider than the trimmed root ball, because a big pot full of soil the small root system cannot drink from is just another bathtub waiting to happen. And it must have drainage holes. That is not a preference. That is the whole ballgame. And fourth, the instruction that will feel completely wrong. Once it is repotted, do not water it, not for 24 to 48 hours. Let those cut roots callus and settle. Put it somewhere with bright, gentle light and good airflow, and no direct afternoon sun. And no fertilizer. None. I will explain why in a moment. That is your 48 hours. Now comes the part nobody tells you about. Here is what nobody tells you. Now you wait. And the waiting is long. Your plant is in shock. It has lost a large part of its root system, and its entire job for the next stretch of time is to grow new roots, underground, where you cannot see any progress at all. So do not expect a burst of fresh leaves next week. It can take several weeks, even a couple of months before you see real new growth. That silence is not failure. That is the plant working. And here is why: no fertilizer. Feeding a plant in shock is like handing heavy weights to someone who just finished a marathon. Those fragile new roots are pouring everything into healing, and fertilizer salts sitting in the soil around damaged roots will burn them. So wait. Wait until you have seen steady new growth for a solid month before you reintroduce even a heavily diluted feed. Your watering for the first 2 to 3 weeks is sparing, just enough to moisten the top of the soil. Let the rest stay on the dry side. Then, as new growth appears, you ease gradually back toward a normal rhythm. And that rhythm, from now until forever, follows one rule. You water by the soil, never by the calendar. Before every single watering, push your finger down an inch or two. Moist, walk away. Dry, water deeply until it runs out the bottom, then dump the saucer 30 minutes later. That is the rule that would have saved my hydrangea. Not a schedule, not a hose on a hot afternoon, just a finger in the soil, every single time before I ever turned the tap. Because the plant is never going to tell you the truth. The leaves lie, the soil does not. So let me tell you what I would say to myself, standing there with that hose. Before we finish, do one thing for me. Think of one person you know with a wilting, yellowing hydrangea, out there faithfully watering it every day, wondering why it keeps getting worse. Send them this video. Just the link. It might be the thing that stops them before they do what I did. Here is what I would say to myself, standing there with that hose in my hand. You are not being kind. You are being anxious. And you are treating your own anxiety, not the plant. The wilting made you feel helpless, and watering made you feel useful. But feeling useful and being useful are not the same thing. Put the hose down and go put your finger in the soil, because it will tell you the truth in 3 seconds, and the leaves never will. And here is how those 48 hours actually work. They are for acting. Fast, decisively, unsentimentally. Stop the water, cut the rot, rebuild the soil. Then the healing takes a season, and that part is entirely patience. Act fast, then wait long. That is the whole thing. And listen, I lost that hydrangea. It was the blue mop head by the corner of the porch, and it had been there a long time. It was not a tragedy, but it was a lesson I paid for. And if this video saves yours, then that plant did not go for nothing. So subscribe and stick around. We do this the honest way here in the Forgotten Knowledge Library. Real horticulture, exact amounts, and we tell you the truth, even when the truth is that a plant cannot be saved, or that the mistake was ours. Next time, another plant, another rescue, another problem nobody explains properly until it is too late. Now go put your finger in that soil before you touch the hose. I will see you in the next one.